Good morning, Wesley Church family. I am your conference delegate coming to you this morning to give my report for annual conference. At Real Texas Annual Conference was June the 8th through the 10th at the American Bank Center in Corpus Christi. The ninth session of the United Methodist Real Texas Conference. Bishop Robert Snazy presiding. The theme was Never Alone. Scripture, I am with you always. Matthew 28 and 20. Before I give my report as conference delegate and representative of Wesley United Methodist Church congregation, I want to welcome Reverend Chase back as our pastor and thank God for blessing him to be our leader and a true disciple for Jesus Christ. On my registration form, the dates were June the 7th through the 11th, Wednesday through Sunday. But Wednesday, I checked in at the hotel and the American Bank Center. There was no nightly worship service. Members there from Wesley were Brother Charles McGarity, Brother Charles Murphy and Sister June Murphy, Dr. D.J. Johnson, Sister Anya Jones, and myself. On Thursday, June the 8th, was our first plenary session. We had called to order and prayer. 8:45 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Henry Garrett A and B ballrooms. Resolution approving the disaffiliation from the United Methodist Church. It was voted and approved. There were 34 churches disaffiliated. On the resolution approving the disaffiliation from the United Methodist Church, it was from the Real Texas Conference Board of Trustees. Introduction. Those United Methodist churches set forth below have requested disaffiliation from the United Methodist Church. And in accordance with the provisions of 2553 of the Book of Discipline 2016, as amended at the special call session of the General Conference in 2019. At least 2/3 of the professing members present and voting at a duly called church conference of each church voted to disaffiliate from the United Methodist Church. And in each instance, the designated district superintendent had certified that each church was in full compliance with the provisions of 2553 concerning disaffiliation. And each church has fully complied with the procedures established by the United Methodist Real Texas Conference Board of Trustees for disaffiliating churches known as descending pathways. And the Conference Board of Trustees has promulgated a written disaffiliation agreement pursuant to 2553. The resolution states that an executed disaffiliation agreement between the United Methodist Real Texas Conference Board of Trustees and each church regarding disaffiliation from the United Methodist Church has been received and is hereby approved, and the local church has fully paid all monies due under the terms of the disaffiliation agreement. Number 2, that following the approval of this resolution, the corporate officers of the United Methodist Rio Texas Conference Board of Trustees are hereby authorized to execute a release of trust clause and grant without warranty, releasing the trust clause and all property to the local church's new entity effective on the disaffiliation date. Number 3, that from and after the date of disaffiliation, church having voluntarily disaffiliated under 2553 shall have no connection or affiliation with the United Methodist Church or the United Methodist Rio Texas Annual Conference, or with any predecessor denomination or conference. 4, that to the fullest extent possible, copies of the official records and papers of the church be deposited for permanent safekeeping with the United Methodist Rio Texas Conference Archives. And number 5, that we give thanks for this congregation and ask for God's blessing upon its continued ministry. The bishop told their delegates that they would be removed from the voting area. Bishop Snazy talked about it's time to get back to mission for God. God said, I will be with you to the end of ages. Make disciples of all nations. It's time to get back to work. 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. was our laity session at the Water Garden A, led by Ralph Thompson. He talked about the agenda for the conference. Chuck McGarrity is a delegate to the General and Jurisdictional Conferences. General Conference will be held May the 2024 in Atlanta. 3 to 5:20 p.m., the second plenary session, Exhibit Hall B. Voting on Standing Rules Report and Consent Agenda. The mission of the Rio Texas Conference: to make disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world. The vision of the Rio Texas Conference: uniting people, vitalizing congregations, developing leaders, transforming communities. The bishop's message: the churches are going through major changes, and if we are going to get back to being on a mission for God, the church is going to have to be willing to say it can be done instead of it can't. Do things differently, can't continue to do the same. Focus beyond the walls. Wesley, we need to focus on going outside of these walls. We have to go out and tell our story. If we don't tell our story, who will? Who's going to know what is going on inside these walls at Wesley? Brooke Schulte from the Capital District spoke on go out and meet different people. Find your story, create your story, and tell your story. We are on a mission to tell what is going on at Wesley. If we don't tell our story, who is? If we don't get out in our changing community and continue to try and reach out to the people in our community, there will never be a change. Even though we continue to go out, let's not say, oh, I've tried that before, I'm tired. Continue to do God's work. Continue to reach out and be the church that I know Wesley is, not only in the community, but also in the Austin and surrounding areas. At 4:30, we had service of remembrance at the Henry Garrett A&B ballrooms. On Friday, June the 9th, we began at 8 a.m. The third plenary session, we was open with a call to order and prayer. Nomination report was presented to be voted on later. Panel discussion. The church speak openly about LGBTQ service in our church. A petition was presented for signatures of those who wanted to sign for support. At the end of the conference, there was 1,063 names signed on the petition. Next, we had our first teaching session by Blair Thompson White. We drew 2 circles with inner circles, and we labeled each circle why, how, and what. On the second circle, we did God's dream, Holy Spirit, and church. About leadership, ministry, and our approach. Landscape has shifted. Things are not the same, and it probably won't ever go back to being the way that we've been used to doing. So we have got to change to reach out to others in our community. A filtration was individualism. We culture has become I culture. Panel discussions for the local church and college ministry, the young adults. We have tried many times over and over to reach out to our young people, and we shouldn't give up. We should continue to reach out. But as I've always said, we need to listen. We need to be open to them when we talk to them. Let them know that we are listening. They want to be treated like an adult. Be able to trust us. What we tell them, we will follow through. Ask why they are there. Again, that is listening. Individual first and listen to the young adult. Ask what they are passionate about. And when they return, remember what they talked about before. Show them that we haven't forgotten what they said, what they expressed to us, their ideas. Even though we may think that it doesn't work, we can still have hope. We can pray about it, but we also need to have action. Show the young adults that we're willing to try their ideas. If it fails, we just continue to keep trying. But I've always said that I believe in showing the young adults that we are listening to them. And to all the young adults, I want you to know that we here at Wesley, we hear you. We are trying. We ask for your participation, your patience with us, and we need to work together. We need to reach out. And as I've always said, young people do not want to come and sit and listen. They are hands-on. And that is where we as older adults need to go. Reach out to them where they are. As the bishop says, go outside these walls. At 12:15, I attended the United Women in Faith, which used to be the United Methodist Women's Luncheon, at the Water Garden A Ballroom. Sister Anya Jones, Dr. DJ Johnson, Sister June Murphy, and Reverend Chase attended the luncheon. President of the conference for the United Women in Faith was Minerva Briones. Our keynote speaker was Sue Doty, MD, PhD, President of Oxford United Women Faith. Theme was supporting our vision, advocating for health care for women and children. They gave some dates as Mission U 2023 will be July the 7th through the 9th at the Drury Plaza Hotel, North Stone Oaks in San Antonio. The theme, Living the Kingdom, exploring the Lord's Prayer as a spiritual practice for social transformation. 2023 the Women in Faith Annual Conference meeting will be October the 13th and 14th at the Ramada Inn in Del Rio, Texas, hosted by the West UWF District. UWF legislative event of 2024 will be January the 28th through the 30th in Austin, Texas. And the theme will be a new and serious response. From 2 to 5 p.m., the fourth plenary session was a service of retirement. And then we talked about 5 muscle practices for a thriving congregation. Bottom to pews, building the budget, grieving well, discerning purpose, walking alongside our neighbors, distributing power, old and new, and expanding imagination. Bishop Task Force. There were 67 churches disaffiliated with the United Methodist Church Conference. 40 churches had action brought against them for not following disaffiliation procedures. 5 changed course of action and followed the rules. Parker Lane United Methodist Church has been sold to change into housing. Trustees will support churches in providing best possible usage of property. Teaching Session 2, Opportunities for Ministry by Blair Thompson White. Conversation is the currency of change, creating brave space and change curve. What do you observe as the spiritual needs of people today? Trust, clarity, deep healing, trustworthy, shameless. What are some of the gifts of the Wesleyan? Grace above all. Covenant groups, justice, making, and 3 areas of focus. 1, expand formation. 2, sanctify friendship, and 3, reward the edge. Innovation for love. Don't give up. Create your space. From 7 to 9 p.m., service of commissioning and ordination. On Saturday, June the 10th, at 8:30 a.m., we began our 5th plenary session, Exhibit Hall B. There were many reports given. The voting on the nomination slate was approved. There will be youth camps in Buda and Palacios. We are a part of God's dream, passion, and ministry. What are we about? Fulfilling God's dream. Reverend Dr. Marcus Freeman is the district superintendent for Capitol and Crossroads District. Let's welcome him and his family back home. He is a native Austin. 2024 location of the annual conference will be June the 5th through the 8th, 2024 in Corpus Christie. Thank you, Wesley, for giving me the opportunity to represent you again at this conference. Wesley, we need to always make decisions on what is best for Wesley, always putting God first. Let's continue to tell our story outside the walls and reach out to our changing community. Again, Wesley, I say thank you and have a good day.